Hi, I'm Jessica Rector, host and founder of This Man Thing, where we help men think bigger, be bigger, and play bigger to gain more freedom, confidence, and success. You can find out more about us at thismanthing.com, and you can also join our free Facebook group at thismanthing.com/groups, where men are having real conversations and building much needed community support and camaraderie. So Arnie Giske is our guest today, and he's a young entrepreneur from Seattle, Washington. He's a Facebook marketer, host of the Millennial Entrepreneur podcast, and he's also making the jump to the digital nomad lifestyle and moving to Colombia soon. Please help me give a warm welcome to Arnie Giske. Hi, Arnie. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. So tell us a little bit about you and a little bit about your background.
A little bit about me. So I'm born and raised in Seattle. I feel like I've always been an entrepreneur, you know. These entrepreneur tendencies have always crept up on me and then shown up in my life. And I feel like that's really been kind of a guiding thing for me. I take pride in my stubbornness, and that helps me, lead a not so normal life. And I really enjoy that. Everything from my daily actions, what I choose to do and not do, what I choose to consume and not consume, has really helped me form into the person I am today. And that's a whole nother topic of figuring out what I do on the daily and how it has helped me do what I do. And I'd love to get into that as well. So yeah, right now for me, like you said, I'm just really excited to be moving to Colombia for the first taste of the digital nomad lifestyle. So I thought, why not make the jump? I don't have a wife. I don't have kids. I don't have too much that's, completely tying me to Seattle. I work online. So I thought, why not go for it?
Wow. So what made you decide to take that big leap? That's a big leap. It's not like you're moving to Texas.
No. Yeah. So what made me decide to take that big leap is I felt a little bit too comfortable here in Seattle. I've made some huge changes this year. Everything from really getting some traction with my online business. I completely quit drinking about 9 months ago. I, got a whole different circle of friends. I grew my network. I grew my business. And I kind of wanted to do something just completely new. And because I was working, pretty much strictly online anyways, I thought there would be no better time than now to do this. So I got some great inspiration. I asked around in a digital nomad travel group. Wow. I said, hey guys, I really want to get down to South America or something. I would love some suggestions. So they all listed out a few places, and then they said, make sure you go to Medellin, Colombia last. I said, well, why is that?
Yeah.
And they said, you won't want to go anywhere else. So I said, all right, well, I'm going to skip straight to the good stuff and just head there. It's called the City of Eternal Spring.
Wow.
And that sounded like about the opposite of Seattle about this time of year. So I just decided and went for it and booked the flight, booked the Airbnb, and just getting ready to go.
That's super, super exciting. So tell us a little bit about your journey. You say that you started off kind of as a quote unquote nobody, whatever that means. I mean, I don't believe any of us are a nobody. So you can kind of explain what that looks like. And then tell us a little bit about your challenges and how you overcame those and your failures and how you overcame the mindset associated with those to help you get where you are today.
Yeah, so both great questions. What I say when I kind of came up from being a nobody is I wasn't hanging around all the best people. Like I said, I used to be a partier, used to be a drinker, and I realized I didn't want to stay on that path. I saw what the other people around me were doing, and they were very comfortable not doing much, and that wasn't for me. I had bigger things in mind. So
good for you. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I really just had to make the decision to just abandon that part of my life and really make big moves towards bigger things. So let's see, it was November last year. I had got in contact with a guy who needed some help growing his digital marketing agency. So coming from more of a sales background, I didn't have the industry knowledge as much, but I had more of the sales background and a little bit of the ideas. So I started helping him with his agency, getting him clients, kind of handling all of the customer service and sales and that kind of thing. And a couple months went by and I realized there was so many opportunities in the digital marketing space. So I started getting more into it, taking on bigger projects, working with startups and other podcast hosts. And it just kind of got busier and busier from there as I grew the team. I had to grow my skills as a young manager, as a project manager, and someone who really had to pick things up fast. So I had a completely crazy year, of course, going from someone who went from a sales role to someone who is now doing the marketing himself, handling all the tech and the tool and everything. So it's been a really cool evolution of myself personally and professionally this year. And I'm definitely excited to jump into 2017 going full speed.
So what kind of challenges, like give us an example of one of the challenges and how you overcame it, or something that you feel like you failed at and how you've used that to not only better your life or your business, but better yourself.
Yeah, so I'd say one of the challenges early on was right around the time I started the agency of my own, I decided to start a podcast. I knew I wanted to get some kind of a media channel, get my message out, get my name out. And I feel like the scariest part of all of that is the week that it goes live. It's like, okay, for the first time in my life, I am asking as much attention as possible to come to me. And, never having had that before, it's scary. You're Googling yourself, making sure nothing weird comes up. You're really trying to like overcompensate in the audios, make sure everything's checked 20 times. But the crazy thing I learned about that is once you do it and once you keep doing it, you don't care as much anymore. It's like you start showing up more as yourself in the podcast. You're not trying to show up trying to impress anyone. You're just trying to deliver great shows, have a good time with the guests. And I feel like people enjoy that more. So I learned to step into the spotlight this year, coming from never having been in one. And that's been really amazing as well. I've ended up being guest on over 15 shows. Wow. I've gotten covered in HuffPost, done some guest posting. And I got very lucky. One of my HuffPost features ended up on the front page of the business section for about 2 days. Woo-hoo! So I was ecstatic, and that was amazing. And this is somebody who had never been in online business, a year before that. So I'm really all about serving the young entrepreneurs, letting them know what's possible. I'm an example of that. And they just really have to have that dedication. So I'm all there to support them and teach them what I've been through.
Well, so how do you go from not doing, like being nobody, right? Nobody knowing you. And then you say you go out there and you Google yourself and then you start showing up as yourself. So what switches in your head or in your mind to go from, I want to impress people, to now I'm just going to show up as me? Kind of that mentality that I say, if people like me, great. If they don't, great. Like, I'm not attached to you liking me, because guess what? No matter who I am or who you think I am, there's going to be people out there who don't like me. And I'm okay with being me, because at the end of the day, I'm the only one who has to look in the mirror, right? I'm the only one who has to look in the mirror and like me and approve of what I did that day, or approve of what I didn't do, or what I said, or how I'm showing up. So, and I've come to that realization for myself, like that's what works for me, is me just being me. And if you don't like me, I'm okay with that too, because not everybody's going to like me. So how did you come to that realization that you're, Googling yourself and you're like, oh, I need to impress people to, you know what? I'm just going to be me.
Yeah, well, I think your answer was great. Probably took about half of my answer, but I think it's that mindset switch of like job interview talk. You show up all prim and proper in your suit, and you really try as best as you can to impress people to get the job or whatever it is. And very few people are themselves in a job interview, and I was trying to approach the spotlight like that, and try and fluff myself up and be something that I wasn't, to try and impress people. But what really helped me make the switch was like what you said, understanding that first off, it's so much less of a headache if I just be myself. I don't have to think about who I'm trying to represent. And you don't have to, cover any tracks if you're just showing up as you. And it's a whole lot more fun. It's a whole lot more easy. And you're going to connect with the best people, because let's say if I did 2 interviews and I was a completely different person in 2 interviews, somebody could look at that and be attracted to me for one reason, and somebody else could be attracted to me for another reason. But if I'm just me the whole time, that consistency is key. And that's what's helped me build an audience. I'm happy I just hit 1,000 members in my Facebook group.
Woo!
And yeah, so that's cool. And, I just show up as me.
Arnie, I love what you said. Job interview talk. Like, I love that.
Yeah.
That's a tweetable moment, right? That's a tweetable quote, like job interview talk. I never thought of it that way, but as soon as you said that, I was like, I like that, because that is so true. Like, you put your shoulders back a little bit more, your head a little higher, you prop yourself up, and you talk, you talk yourself up, and you're totally someone who you are not, if you're goofy and silly, you're so not like that in a job interview. You're straight laced. And what's the answer that they really want to hear, and not really the answer that you want to say, right? What is going to help me get this job? And I think that's how people show up, not just in a job interview, but in life. They're not really themselves, in relationships. Okay, who does this person want me to be? And I'm not going to really be the person that I am, which makes the relationship that much more challenging, right? We're not going to talk about how we really feel, or don't mention what we really want, because guess what? Hey, that's called communication. That's called honesty. And that might repel the other person. So let's not do that. Let's be who they want us to be, or who they expect us to be. And what that does is that takes away a little of ourselves every time we do that, right? It takes away a little bit of our confidence, a little bit of our self-worth, a little bit of who we are. And then we start becoming this person that we don't even recognize. We look in the mirror one day and we're like, who are you? This is not who you are. One of the questions I ask all my men clients is, who are you? Most of the time, they don't even know what that means, because they've spent so much of their lives trying to be someone else, right? Trying to say what other people want, trying to be who other people expect them today, and they forget who they are at their core. And I know
or they think it's a job title. I am job title at companies.
Yes. And that's what I say, who are you outside of the roles you play or your job? It's like, Jessica, what does that even mean? Okay, well, let's go back. That's where we need to start it. If men do not even know what this means, we need to start helping them realize that they are more than the roles that they play. They're more than their job. And how can we help them authentically become themselves, whatever that looks like for them, right? So how did it affect how you feel about yourself when you started showing up as yourself, when you stopped pretending to be someone else and you just owned and embraced yourself? How did that make you feel?
It's like a 1,000-pound weight off my shoulders. Like I said, because you're not trying to calculate and, create this image. You're just you. You just got to focus on making you more awesome all the time. And then you don't have to fake being awesome. So that's really what it felt like. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's as far as they want to be. But if you show up as you, let people know where you're at. Number one, share your stories. People love stories. I recently asked my group, hey, we're coming up on 1,000 members. I'm just curious why you guys stick around and what you guys like about this group. And, a lot of them said community, the knowledge, and a lot of my closer friends in there said, I love hearing your stories.
Aww.
So I think it's really powerful to be able to tell your stories and keep people updated, especially on social media when it is extremely noisy. There's so much clutter going on. So being able to tell good stories of myself and my guests on my show is, I feel like, what really helps people connect with me and my brand.
And I think that's so underrated. People connect with stories. People connect with emotions. That's how we connect with people, right? When I know about you, Arnie, I connect more with you as opposed to the facade that you may be trying to put on, right? When you're raw, when you're vulnerable, that's what connects us with people, not who we expect people to be or who other people expect us to be. But when we can just peel back the layers and let down the walls, the thing that scares us the most, that's what really connects us with other people and allow people
Absolutely.
to like us, right? Know, like, and trust us. And the most powerful thing, it also helps other people not feel so alone in their journey. And there's so much power in that. So much power in that. So what is one of the things
Absolutely.
that you've learned about just sharing your story? What's one thing that you've learned about yourself through the process of being more authentically you and sharing your story with more people?
One thing that I really try and do for myself and the guests on my podcast is pull out the mistakes and the truths and the journey between, oh, I started this business and now it just sold for $1 million or whatever. I always say, hey, what was your journey with this business? They say, oh, I got out of college, I started with a few friends. Now we're doing, $5 million a year. I said, no. You got to back up and tell me what happened in between all of that. That's where the real story is. There's too many success stories floating around and people are tired of that. It's like, okay, cool. You did it, but how did you do it?
Yeah.
Let's get into the nitty gritty details. What kind of bad decisions you made, what kind of things went wrong.
Yes.
Did you get sued? Did you lose a partner? And that's where it really becomes memorable. So I feel like that is what's helped me stand out more and help my guests stand out more on my show. And that is, like you said, the most powerful thing is becoming more memorable by really telling your story.
Yeah, because those are the juicy things, right? Like, people want to know your struggle. I want to know your struggle, because when I know your struggle, I can connect with that, right? I can connect with the failures. I can connect with the mistakes, because guess what? We all have them. When everything seems like, oh, life's been easy breezy for you and you went from this to this and, oh yeah, great. I can't connect with that. I can't relate to that, right? I want to know those details, because that's what we can relate to. Because when we look at our own lives, we look at the struggle, we look at the challenges, we look at the issues, we look at, oh my gosh, am I feeling helpless or hopeless, or I'm in pain and I'm hurt. And I want to know someone else has been through that. I want to know that you, Arnie, have been through that and you've gotten out of it, and how you got out of it. What you did, what were the steps you took to get out of that, Because if I'm in that right now, I want those steps, right? I want to know that you felt pain and how you worked through that, because guess what? I feel pain too. If I think that you've never felt pain and you've made no mistakes, then it's like, okay, well, that's not my life. I can't identify with that. Like, okay, great.
Yeah, you're a robot. I don't trust
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Nothing happens to that person. Oh, that must be awesome. Perfect life. I can't relate to a perfect life, you know?
Yeah.
So tell me what you'd recommend to people who, I mean, you said you've always kind of had the entrepreneur mind. What if people are thinking, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur. I don't know what it takes. I'm sick of living this like 9-to-5 job. What can they do? Where do they start? Where do they begin? Because I think a lot of people want to do it, but they have no idea where to begin.
Well, the first one is really all about the mindset. You know, before you go and start to file a business, anything like that, before you even get your ideas, you need to be comfortable being uncomfortable and become a serial problem solver.
Ooh, I like that.
I've had to implement, rules like if there's a light bulb out, then I have to fix it. Anything fixable within 5 minutes, I just do it. If it's going to annoy me, otherwise take the trash out, change the light bulb, send an email, whatever it is. And some people sit there for a week and it's still there. You can't have that mindset if you're an entrepreneur. You have to be always fixing things and putting out fires and getting to the next step. And my best piece of advice for someone is to start doing that in their own life. It's so much easier to sit there on the couch and keep watching TV or Netflix or whatever it is. But if you're not proactive about getting progress, then it's not going to work out so well when you go and start a business. And that's something that caught me up when I got started too. There were a lot of times where I was lazy. I wasn't feeling like doing this or that, or doing those challenging tasks, and I wasn't making the progress I could have been. Once I made the switch and started looking at my to-do list and knocking out the big, scary, daunting ones, I realized they weren't that bad after all when I got done with it. So it's really a mindset of being comfortable, being uncomfortable, and taking big action. Even if you don't know the first thing about how to do something, you can say, okay, I don't know, I'm not going to do it. Or you can go on Google and look it up. 10 minutes of research and you're more educated than 90% of people out there on any random topic. So it's all about empowering yourself to take that next step, whatever it is. You don't have to be an expert. You just have to keep moving.
Yeah, and don't allow yourself to stay stuck, right? It's like what you just said, like,
yeah,
it just goes for like a week and you don't do it. And it's easy. I'm very analytical, so it's easy to stay stuck and not making a decision. Just like, like whenever I started mine, it was like, I don't really know what colors. I don't really know what my branding colors should be. So I just sat in stuckness about colors. Like, seriously. Like, Jessica, men don't care if it's navy blue or cobalt blue. All they see is blue. But seriously, that was my thought. Well, okay, should it be this shade or this shade? All they see is blue, Jessica. And here was such a huge kind of aha for me, which sounds like a done no-brainer, is a friend said, Jessica, make a decision, and guess what? You can always change it. It's not set in stone. And it's like, hello, why did I not realize that? Like, I think so many people stay feeling and being stuck, scared of making the wrong decision, so they don't make any decision. And guess what? If you make a decision, you can always tweak and change and adjust along the way. But the fear of making the wrong decision is more powerful than making any decision. And I think for me, that was like one of the most powerful things is, Jessica, it's not set in stone. You can change the decision once you make it. Nobody says that that's like the be all to end all. And so, so I love what you say, like, just like make a decision, go for it, do it. Don't allow a small thing to go out the course of a week or a month or anything like that. Make a decision, adjust, tweak, because that's what we have to do along the way, right, Arnie?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
I have
so
to
what
go
are some of the
fast.
things that you've had to learn to adjust and change along the way that you just boom made a decision and then you had to learn that, okay, maybe we need to alter something. So that's part of being an entrepreneur. But what's an example that you can give us of something that you had to change and tweak along the way?
I would say my websites. So before I even got started helping my friend with the agency, I taught myself how to create a WordPress website. I had this grand idea for this .com startup that did nothing because I knew nothing.
Right.
And I created my first site and it looked like a piece of garbage. It was terrible. But
But you
I,
did it.
I turned it on. It was there. Yeah, I had a few users and it was just horrible. So then I ended up, a couple months later, creating my next site, and it was all right. It was pretty bad too. It wasn't all functional in every area, but and then a few months later, I created my podcast website.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's looking good. It works. It's not a 10 grand website. And then I completely redid my agency website, and it was looking great. So it's those things like, okay, if it functions and it communicates what you need to
Yes.
communicate, then it's good to go. And then
But
I
you can also
redid
up
my
level
agency
along the
website.
way. You up level along the way,
Oh yeah.
right? That's part of the process.
Yeah. So I redid the agency website again when I started just focusing more on Facebook ads. And that one looks great, works great. It's better than all the other ones I've done. So,
Yay.
it's a process of practicing.
Yes.
And like any skill, if I had just, stopped after that first website and said, okay, I'm bad at websites, I'm never going to do this again, I'm going to pay thousands of dollars to have someone else do it, then I would still be doing that to this day. But
Mm-hmm.
I sucked it up. I learned, I practiced, and got better. And that's going to be how it is with so many skills, especially as an entrepreneur. You are in charge
Mm-hmm.
of a lot of departments
Yes.
you don't have the skills for.
But you also learn along the way, right? You up
Yeah.
level things, you learn along the way, you get better. And what doesn't resonate with you, you can always outsource it to people who are very skilled at that. But it's also about owning thing and embracing all those skills, and the more you do it, the better you get, the more it builds your confidence. So what's one thing that people can start on today if they're wanting to be an entrepreneur? Is it having that great mindset? Is it about, just making a decision? We talked about several things. What's one thing that they can take action on today?
I think it's going to be different for everyone depending on where they're at. But this is also another good kind of mindset exercise too, is asking what's the worst that could happen, like actual
Yes.
worst. Um, like let's say if I had, started my business over today and I had zero contacts, zero anything, and I got an idea to walk into businesses and pitch them on what I do. What's the absolute worst that could
Mm-hmm.
happen? They would say no and then yell at me to get out of the store. That's the worst.
Yeah.
Most cases they would say no, or they would say maybe or say yes, and then we would keep going. So when you look at these scary opportunities that are like, okay, this might go right, but this, and this could happen. Look at the actual worst outcome,
Mm-hmm.
and chances are it's not even that bad.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about starting up your new venture, even if you're investing some money in it, let's say you just completely blew it all. Um, how much is it? What is that risk worth to you? If it pays off, will it come back big time? Will you make some huge strides? Will you make some connections or learn a few things? And it becomes
Yeah.
worth it. So once you start getting in that mindset of the, action first, don't overanalyze everything, and
Yeah.
ask yourself what's the worst that could happen, you become a machine. And then you just have to learn more of the knowledge, more of the strategy, and get more of the connections. And then all of a sudden these doors are going to start flying open for you. It is
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah. So Arnie, tell us where we can find you and how we can connect with you.
All right. Best place to find me would be my Facebook group. called Millennial Entrepreneur Community. The podcast is over at themillennialentrepreneur.com. And if you ever need to reach out via email, you can reach me at arnie@themillennialentrepreneur.com. And thank you so much for the opportunity. I really had a great time chatting with you.
Thank you, Arnie. Thanks so much for being here. I loved it. You know, you had some really great nuggets and juicy information. So I know there's going to be lots of great takeaways for the guys listening for this. So again, you can connect with me at jessica@thismanthing.com. You can find out more about us and all the services that we offer at thismanthing.com. And you can also join our Facebook group totally free at thismanthing.com/groups, where men are having real conversations and building much needed community support and camaraderie with other men. We look forward to helping you gain more freedom, confidence, and success to think bigger, be bigger, and play bigger. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much for joining us on today's call. Bye-bye.